Welcome to 8 Nights of Kvetching. Night 2.
Welcome to a sneeze and night 2 of 8 Days of Kvetching, in which my fellow Dead Dreams Club member and Jew, Jessica Brody Frank, and I discuss things that make us angry in museums, things that we want to kvetch about. And we're going to kvetch, we're going to story tell, we're going to get cathartic, and we're going to get actionable. So, if you're into it, make a latke. I'm team sour cream. Are you team sour cream or
team sour cream?
Yes. All right. Join team sour cream and let's talk a little bit about museum HR. Mediation is not restoration. So I'm going to start this one by talking about something that happened earlier in my career. So at a previous job, I was pretty young, very excited. I finally had like health insurance and I could finally afford to gas up my car. And I was like living on my own and, really eager to like make a new impression. Like I was there. I finally had all the things that I was supposed to have after I finished my master's degree. It only took me like, an extra whatever. So I'm in the hallway, still meeting new people. It's like the first, 4 months of my tenure there, maybe. And a very, very senior colleague comes over to say hi. And I'm like really excited to make a good impression because he's senior to me, like very senior and like has a lot of power. And he says hello to my boobs, not to my face. He doesn't say like hi Meredith's tits, but he does say hello. And I wasn't blind to it, but I also was like terrified, like I shouldn't flatter myself. Maybe he's not, maybe it's not really true. Like maybe it's all in my head. Maybe he's just really friendly. But like I was so uneasy around him that I would hide if I heard him coming. I would like flatten myself against the walls. I would like duck under bathrooms. I figured out what entrances and hallways he would be in at any time so that I didn't have to take those. And I would take like long meandering routes to the bathroom or whatever. So I'm like, I know that he has a standing meeting at these days because I've figured it out and I'm not gonna go in this hallway. And then I got in an accident that required me to be using a walker. So I went from like being agile and able to hide to being like completely stuck, like a literal captive audience for like whatever. And and I'm sort of glossing over what it is that he did or said because it was never like overt. He was always addressing my anatomy, not my face. And it was never anything that was like so gross. But there's, I think for a lot of young people, sometimes we have, I guess, a radar. We have a good radar, but we doubt it because we're taught to doubt it because we are socialized to think like, A, well, they're just being nice. And like, B, well, but it's the hierarchy. In a museum, no different than any other workplace, ton of hierarchy. Senior people carry power, tenure carries power. And so, he like says, he somehow makes my accident about my gender, like incorporates my like, oh yeah, women do this. And I'm like, I'm sorry, women do what now? I'm in a walker, but thanks. But that also meant that like he could touch me, which he did on my body, not on my breast, on my stomach, not on my ass, but like in my general torso area, right? So he had to have gone around my arms or like stepped in and closed the space between the two of us. And I was like, again, I'm like, I don't know if this is inappropriate, but it doesn't feel good. And I don't feel like I'm empowered to say no to this guy. And I'm like second guessing everything. And I try to report him, but the head of HR at the time was like so untrustworthy that I just couldn't do it. I was like, she's going to make me talk to him and I don't want to, I don't feel safe. And so I like sit on it until I get this new boss. And she's like, I swear to God, Meredith, if you don't report him, I'm going to report him. And I was like, really? Okay, I guess. And so I did. And at the same time, I was also like talking to my friends and I was like, yeah, he's sort of weird. And they're like, it's only with you, Meredith. I don't think you understand. Like, we are so uncomfortable when he sees you because he beelines for you. And I was like, really? And, you know, I like this new head of HR ultimately couldn't do anything for me either. So I reported him and they said, well, maybe he doesn't know what he's doing. We could mediate. Do you want to? And I said, absolutely no. I don't want to sit in a room with this man. I'm reporting him because if I wanted to confront him, I would have confronted him. I am a very comfortably confrontational person, but I'm also new and young and scared. And I was at the time not particularly mobile, dealing with medical bills and like really needed that job. Right.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of power. And so, like, in the end, I think he was given a generic talk about professionalism, but they warned me, you know, if you're his target, he's going to know it was you. And they said he's probably going to be weird around you. And he was. And that's like really how it ended. It was like a generic mediation. It was clear that they knew that something was up with this guy. And he outlasted me at that job. And I didn't leave because of him, but the way it was sort of like quietly like, yeah, no, we know. He's sort of like of a certain era, but like he was the valuable one and I was not. And that's my thing of museum HR, which is your job is already fucking tenuous and they're so scared of replacing a known, like they're so like for some reason staff attrition like freaks them out and it should freak them out, but like for the wrong reason. Fucking fire the people or like do more than like a private slap on the wrist.
Yeah, it's the do more, I would say. And it's the fact that listening to you tell this story, I have such a similar experience from one of my early jobs in the 20s, low level, and one of the highest ranking male members of our staff had multiple people reporting things he said. And it was the same conversations of, I bet that wasn't his intention. I bet that's not what he meant. Maybe you took it out of context. And it's not until 5 or 6 people are going around the table saying, we've all had something like this come up with this person. And eventually, for mine, the sticking point was when we warned a new member of staff to avoid this person because he was known for this. And we were the ones called into HR and reprimanded for spreading rumors about someone who was senior at our job. And we had to pull the receipts out and say we had filed complaints about this person commenting on our looks, on our gender, on our whatever else. And that what we were doing was just trying to warn another young female employee that this was not a safe person to be around. This person ended up retiring. This person became an emeritus volunteer who we still were told we couldn't talk about, but that we should keep the younger women away from. And so this is the thing I think in this kveCH is it's a freaking problem that we all have been a part of. We've all seen it. And you've probably even had it in your family dinners where there's that one member of the family where they're like, oh, he's from a different era. Oh, she's from whatever. They didn't know. And again, it's night 2. This shouldn't be a miraculous revelation for anybody, but intent is not impact. And what we're worried about here is impact. And so again, solutions for this, I don't know. And I feel like that's where Meredith is at too. but I'm just going to reiterate what we said in night one, that talking with each other, keeping those lines of communication open is the most power we have as workers in museums. And even then, clearly I got reprimanded for talking to people about things, but this is the only solution I can see besides, like, at this point, I feel like HR is just waiting for them to either die or retire. But that's not going to stop a new generation from doing similar but different things. So,
I was gonna say, we had somebody fail upwards into the highest court in the United States of America. We allowed that. That is the culture that contributes. Because, like, if somebody, multiple somebodies actually, can make it into the United States Supreme Court, what chances do we have of, like, holding them accountable? Because you know, and I understand, like, I understand, I get it, I really do, that some people feel like their jobs are tenuous or that you're worried about speaking out, but, like, we need you. Like, I cannot emphasize enough that we need you.
and
I would have,
even in
yeah.
a different vein, I worked at an institution where a member of staff was doing subtle racial digs at people. And it was subtle enough that when you only had one piece of the puzzle, the one thing he had said to one person, they were able to say, oh, that's probably not what he meant, you know, give him a minute. But when 4 or 5 people, all from the same racial group, reported hearing the same things, reported having differences, and when other people could say that's not what they're doing with me, it was much easier for that person. Eventually did get fired, but it took us having to bring everyone together to piece that kind of a story together. And so it is important to speak up if you're seeing it, if you're seeing somebody else being treated that way. I think those are the things we can do. And again, it's not easy and it's not comfortable. And for certain places where there is such a strong hierarchy, we're not sitting here, you know, telling you you're a terrible person if you don't. We're just trying to say these are some of the things we hope that we can keep taking into the next year to try and just be better for each other.
Yeah. And I would say, like, also, if your job isn't, like, if it's truly not safe, if you cannot speak up, because for some reason it's really super easy to fire people who are, you know, lower down on the ladder, but it's really hard to fire the people who are using their positionality to be aggressive, to be racist, to be predatory. Check in, like, at a minimum, check in. Because one of the helpful things that would happen for me is that my friends would sort of close ranks around me, or they'd warn me, you know, like, they didn't feel comfortable going and saying anything either, but they would say, like, Meredith, he's coming, go, or, like, we saw him, we see this, we see you. So, like, even just ways to quietly protect your colleagues and to, like, acknowledge that you see them, that's another actionable thing, is that if you can't really truly take any sort of collective action, but hey, for those people who actually are in power, fucking do something, please. And if it's, oh, I'm trying, we'd like to hear it. Like, that's not an aggressive thing. Like, we'd literally like to hear what it is that you're trying to do, because maybe it will help other people. On that cheerful note, I don't know if any closing things before we end night 2.
I don't think so. I think it really is just a, you know, a big part of Judaism and a big part of, you know, where Meredith and I are coming from is this idea of banding together, protecting each other, being there when you see something wrong, when you see something uncomfortable. It's our duty to talk about that. Like, the hard things are hard because we have to tackle them. And so that's where I think we're coming from in this one, is we know this is not a cheerful holiday message to spread, but it can be, because what we're trying to say is that we all need to be there for each other. And especially in these cases where, like Meredith said, sometimes just having people there to support you is enough in that moment.
So happy night 2. Happy Hanukkah. Team sour cream.